Let's see. All right, did that one again. Okay, so Charlie Munger said, famously said, the late Charlie Munger, he just recently passed away. He was the partner with Warren Buffett for Berkshire Hathaway. And one of his famous quotes was saying, the first $100,000 is a BIT. I don't know if you're allowed to swear on YouTube or not. You get the idea. The first 100,000 is the hardest, but you got to do it. And and the idea here is that to make your money work for you, you need to invest $100,000 in a stock portfolio. And I would recommend you invest that very safely with in something like Professor G 3 fund portfolio, which is going to be SCHD, S&P 500 as an index fund, and something like QQQM. And plus you may do other investments on top of that. But on average, historical average, the interest you earn on the S&P 500, for example, historically has been 10% at least year over year over year on average. So, this is getting into the miracle of compound interest because you're going to get 10% of $100,000, which is going to be $10,000. So the following year, you're going to take 10% of $110,000. See how that works? So now it incrementally increases year over year over year. So like the second year, you don't need to save $100,000, or the next phase of investment, you don't need to do 100,000 because you earned 10,000 in interest. And now you only got to do 90,000. And by the time you reach $300,000 in your investment portfolio, you don't have to invest 70,000. Now you got to invest like 50,000 in order to climb up to the next $100,000. So it incrementally increases, and so that it gets easier and easier and easier to climb the next $100,000. Over and over and over again. So the first 100,000 was the hardest one to achieve because you didn't get any interest on that, and the interest doesn't really play a significant role until you build your portfolio up to $100,000. So that's why that's a benchmark you should strive for. Is I need to get $100,000 invested, and as truck drivers and new owner operators, you can do it. It's just a matter of when do you want to do it. I would recommend you try to do it fairly early on because then life will get easier for you because you'll be earning interest on that money year over year over year. So let me give you some examples that may delay your reaching $100,000. So let's say, for example, you buy a house and you put $25,000 or $30,000 down payment. Well, that's going to delay you from reaching $100,000. You may need to buy a house. Maybe you have dependents and a spouse and cat and dog. They all need a place to live. I understand that, but just realize that that's going to delay you reaching that $100,000 investment point. Let's say you go buy a truck because you're a new owner operator and you decide to put $25,000 down on a truck as a down payment, which is a great down payment. There's no doubt about it. That's a great down payment. But again, that's going to delay you from reaching $100,000. But if you're comfortable with that, that's perfectly okay. But you realize it's going to take you longer to reach that $100,000 mark invested in a portfolio. Let's say you have a $30,000 student loan and you decide, I'm going to pay off my student loan first. Again, that's going to delay you reaching that $100,000 point. Same thing with credit cards, personal loans, car loans. All those things you're going to need to pay off, no doubt about it. But you're going to have to decide what your strategy is going to be. It's like, well, do you want to get out of debt first and then start investing? Or do you want to start investing and pay off your debt at the same time? or do you want to invest first and then pay off your debt later? I mean, there's so many ways you can do it. It's all a matter of personal preference. There's no right or wrong answer to this, so however you do it, if it works for you, that's great, so whatever, fits your needs best. I mean, what you do for you is great for you. It may not be great for the next guy, but eventually you want to get $100,000 invested. So in order to achieve that, you're still going to need some money into, your personal checking and savings account. You're probably still going to have some money into a maintenance account, and that could easily be $10,000 to $25,000 right there. So if we say, okay, I need $100,000 to invest in a stock portfolio, plus I need another $25,000 for maintenance accounts and personal accounts. Right there's $125,000. And let's say you're going to throw another $10,000 into a high yield savings account for your emergency fund, because you need that so that you don't feel tempted to sell your stocks, in case something comes up. So don't touch your stocks. Once you invest them, don't touch them. Just let them stay right there. So, we said 25,000 for maintenance and personal checking savings, and another 10,000 for a high yield savings account. So, we're looking at $135,000, that you'll have saved, in order to reach this magical benchmark of investing $100,000 into a portfolio. You may have $100,000, but it's not all invested into the stock portfolio. That's not going to do you a lot of good. You need that money invested in the stock portfolio in order to achieve the benefit of compound interest year over year over year. So, as you see, we're up to 135,000. That's not even paying anything off. Let's say you want to pay off your debts, and you got 25,000 in debts you need to pay off, and now you're looking at 150,000. And then let's say you want to buy a house, and you're going to put a down payment on that. Now you're getting up to 175,000. So you could see financially, it's going to take you a long time. Because yeah, that's a lot of money. And you can't do it in the first year or two of being an owner operator. You may not be able to do it in the first 5 years. It may take you more than 5 years time frame to do some of these things. You may not even be able to do all of these things, but I would say by 10 years you should be there. So by 10 years as an owner operator, you should have all your debts paid off for the most part, unless it's a house payment or a truck payment. You should have enough money for your maintenance accounts, your personal checking accounts, and a high yield savings account, and have $100,000 put away into a stock portfolio. That would be a goal for a 10-year point for a new owner operator. Now, from first starting out to the first 10 years, set goals for yourself along the way. Say, okay, by 5 years into it, I want to be mostly out of debt with a credit score over 800. And then by 10 years, I want to reach these other financial goals. But the key is to be smart with your money, to really make your money work for you, is to build that stock portfolio up to $100,000 at least. Some of you may already have that with your 401ks, so you would count your 401ks, your IRAs, and your individual stock brokerage account. All that's money invested. That's money that's been put to work. Okay, so that it's earning compound interest. And then start looking at other ways to increase your financial strength, whether it's improve your credit score, pay off debts, pay things off, things like that. Now, Charlie Munger, again, he was the partner of Warren Buffett. His thing was, he doesn't care what you have to do to get $100,000 invested. He's like, if you got to use a coupon to pay for your lunch, then that's what you got to do. If that means you got to walk instead of buying a car, then that's what you got to do. So he was very thrifty, really a penny pincher, and then the second part of his approach was, once you've achieved $100,000 invested, then you can back off a little bit. But he was putting emphasis on that first 100,000. That's the hardest money that you'll ever have to make, because after that, everything gets easier because of compound interest. Okay, guys, that's all I got for you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the internet.